Hey, what's going on? My name's Wes. We're talking Fey, Warped, Accursed, Species, and much, much more in today's video, so let's go. Alright, so we are doing another species video. We are looking at the Grimhollow species in today's video, and there are a bunch of them. Thankfully, you can act like if you pick just the Grimhollow species in D&D Beyond, you get whatever traits they are, and you get a bunch of traits. The Grimhollow Player's Handbook, Player's Guide, works on a pick your own traits thing. However, D&D Beyond is not supported for that, thankfully, because that list is way too long. Yeah, the customizability, it is overwhelming. I mean, if I own like all the species available, right? And if I said you can choose whatever you want, that is a long list to go through. And I mean long. Like, if you have all the species available and you've never played D&D before, like, just think about that. How long of a list that is. It's overwhelming. The reason I'm doing these videos, right? So I'm glad that you can't like customize your character that much. It's called decision paralysis. It's real. So we're going to start things off in alphabetical order, not on rarity of species. So our first species that we are going to talk about are the accursed, which are, well, you're humanoid, you are, your size is small or medium, you have a walking speed of 30 feet, age, no one cares, you have resistance to psychic damage, magical fortitude, right? So you can choose one ability score: strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. And you have advantage on saving throws against spells cast with that particular stat. You also have unchecked, which means you have advantage against on saving throws against being restrained. Ethereal fade. As a magic action, you can go into the ethereal plane for a minute. Standard ethereal plane stuff applies. You can bonus action to come back early if you'd like. And you can do that once per long rest. You have meditated rest, which means you can complete a long rest in 4 hours. You also have embrace the past, which gives you proficiency in history. That's the word. You also have proficiency in arcana with magical insight. Then you have magical savvy, which you basically learn a cantrip. Our next one is double curse. So you have resistance to fire damage. Natural attack. Your unarmed strikes deal 1d6 plus your strength or dex, and that can either be bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage, because you might have claws, horns, or a tail, and so forth. Tenacious, you have advantage on saving throws against being, or you have advantage on death saves. You have dark vision out to 60 feet. You have poison resistance, so you have advantage on saving throws against being poisoned. Calculative listener basically means after a minute of talking with somebody, you can force them to make a wisdom save or be charmed by you. You have proficiency in insight with commanding insight. And eager deceiver, you have proficiency in deception. That's what that means. Alright, moving on, we have our Fey Warped Accursed, like my intro. You have Awakened Mind, so you have you automatically succeed on saving throws. Again, that would give you the incapacitated, stunned, or unconscious condition. This does not include effects that leave you unconscious because you are reduced to 0 hit points. This is overpowered. Not being able to be incapacitated. There's a lot of features that incapacitate you. This is already like OP out the gate. Then you have Lucky. Whenever you roll like the good old-fashioned Halflings version of Lucky, whenever you roll a 1 on a d20, you can re-roll. You have natural attack again, which is your unarmed strike, same thing, an extra d6 damage. You have Fade Away, so you can bonus action hide by without having to be heavily obscured. You only need to like be slightly obscured, and you can do this proficiency bonus times per long rest. Then you also have poison resistance, so advantage on saving throws against poison, being poisoned. Connection to nature, proficiency in nature skills. Then dream walking, proficiency bonus times per day. You can give yourself advantage on ability checks to recall lore or knowledge, and you gain all expended uses on a long rest. And then you also have proficiency in intimidation. Leopard's hide accursed. So you got quick slip, you can bonus action hide. Astute slip, you have advantage on stealth checks when you hide. Quick initiative, you can add your proficiency bonus to your initiative. Burst of speed, you can increase your movement speed by 30 feet. You can do this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. Then natural movement, you choose the terrain. You aren't affected by difficult terrain. It doesn't cost you any extra movement, and you don't make ability checks with disadvantage while in that terrain. Standing leap, if you make long jump, high jump, running start, doesn't cost you as much speed initially. Athlete sprint, you have advantage in, or you have proficiency in athletics, and then nimble move, you have proficiency in sleight of hand. This standing leap, I wish it would say you can cast jump on yourself. Instead, it goes through all of this blah 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 explaining the movement rules, which are horrible in D&D. Moving on. Alright, next up we have our Arisen. You are, I think, medium or small. Yeah, you could be, you're humanoid, you're medium or small. Your walking speed is 30 feet. Age, who cares? Magical fortitude means same thing like the other species that we mentioned. I think we mentioned it before. I don't recall actually. Choose ability, strength, dex, con, intelligence. You have advantage on spells with that specific ability. Then you have tenacious. You have advantage on death saves. You have toughness. You gain a +1 to your maximum hit points, and this increases as you level up. Kind of like tough, but a little less, or you could just think how the dwarfs are. Then you have artificial form. Despite being humanoid, you also count as a construct. So you don't need to eat, sleep, or drink. However, you still have to take an 8-hour rest, and healing spells do work on you, despite being considered a construct. You have advantage on constitution saving throws to resist extreme cold or heat. I don't know how often that comes up in your games. Embrace the past, you have proficiency in history. Magical insight, you have proficiency in arcana. Unnatural healer only applies if you're using grievous wounds in your games or not. I don't use them in my games because I personally don't like negatives applying to my character. Alright, then we have the Dampier, and partly the reason I wanted to get this video out because when the Faerun Sword Coast new WotC book comes out, they're gonna update the Dampier with Asterians, Vampire, blah 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 blah, and hopefully they update the Reborn as well. I mean, Reborn's one of my favorite species because I played one for nearly 2 years. Actually, yeah, I played one for about 2 years, a Reborn Bard, which was awesome. But we're here talking about Dampier. You're humanoid, you're small or medium, you have 30 feet movement speed. Age, who cares? You have a draining attack, so when you hit with your natural attack or an unarmed strike, you gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the damage you dealt. Your natural attack are your fangs, so you deal 1d6 plus your strength or dex in piercing damage, or if you're doing an unarmed strike, same thing like the other ones had, except for this case, gain temporary hit points. You have well protected, so your AC is 13 plus your dex. You have a climbing speed equal to your walking speed. You have dark vision out to 60 feet. You have proficiency in deception. You have the ability to cast the friends cantrip. You're also going to gain charm person and the ability score you choose from your cantrip. That's the Dampier. Alright, disembodied. I did the disembodied before, but it's been updated. You're humanoid, your size is either small or medium, your walking speed is 30 feet. You have magical fortitude, so choose an ability score, you gain advantage on spells that target saves against that score, so like wisdom or dex saves. Master of distraction, it's like a taunt feature, so you can use your, is it bonus action or action? You can use an action to basically taunt creatures. So until the end of your next turn, any creature within 10 feet has advantage on attacking you. You can do this proficiency bonus times per day. Then you have out of phase, which means for a minute, as a bonus action, you give creatures a disadvantage on attack rolls against you, and you can move through difficult terrain without it affecting you. Ethereal Fade, you can go into the ethereal plane as a magic action for a minute and do all types of, ethereal nonsense. Inured to the elements does not give you resistance damage. Instead, you have advantage against extreme heat or extreme cold. Magical Insight, you have proficiency in Arcana. Magical Savvy, Dancing Lights, you choose your ability score, because that's the same thing for your Featherfall, which you can cast without expending a spell slot. And if you have spell slots, or spell casting feature, the words, you can cast it again. That's your updated Disembodied. I feel like the taunt's new. I don't remember it. I know the ethereal thing was there before. Update's not that bad. Not in my opinion, the update's pretty good. Alright, next up we have the Downcast. So your humanoid, your medium size, your walking speed is 30 feet. You have divine sanguomancy. So whenever a creature within 30 feet of you regains hit point, you can spend a hit dice and gain hit points. Touch of Life, you have resistance to necrotic damage. Inured to elements, just like the others, you can have advantage against extreme heat or extreme cold. Meditative Rest, you can finish a long rest in 4 hours. Tireless, you have advantage on saving throws connected to gaining or removing exhaustion. Magical Savvy, this time is Thaumaturgy. Magical Savant, you can select one first level cleric spell. Moved by Faith, you have proficiency in the religion skill. Not bad. Really, it's the 4-hour long rest that does it for me. Alright, now we have Dragonborn. Your humanoid, your size is medium, your walking speed is 30 feet. You have a breath weapon, you choose the element. It's based on your constitution. It does a d8 damage and scales like a cantrip does. You have resistance to elemental damage. It's the same as your breath weapon. You have a menacing roar, which is based off your constitution. So as a bonus action, you can try to frighten creatures. You have dark vision out to 60 feet. You also have natural movement, which means you choose an element terrain. You ignore difficult terrain there. You have powerful build, so you count as one size larger for carrying, dragging, and lifting. Firm Influence gives you proficiency in intimidation, and Moved by Faith gives you proficiency in religion. Next we have Dreamers, which are, honestly, you can kind of think of them as like the Solaran from Doctor Who, but not as lizard looking. You're a humanoid, your size is medium, your walking speed is 30 feet. You have quick initiative, so you can add your proficiency bonus to your initiative. Stalwart Reserves, whenever you hit a creature with a melee attack, you can use a reaction, roll a number of d4s equal to your proficiency bonus, and gain those in temporary hit points. And you can do that proficiency bonus times for a long rest. You have dark vision out to 60 feet. Helping Hand lets you take the help action as a bonus action. Power Nap lets you reduce exhaustion by 1 and regain a hit point die in addition to the other benefits of a short rest. Dreamwalking, you have advantage on checks. Oh, this is you have advantage on checks that require lore or knowledge, so you can do that proficiency bonus times per day. Improvise, so you pick a skill you're not proficient in and you give yourself proficiency for 1 hour, and that's a once per long rest feature. Inborn Perception, you have proficiency in perception. Next up is Dwarves. Unlike the Forgotten Realms dwarf, or actually first, you're humanoid, you're medium, your walking speed is 30 feet. You have damage resistance. It's not poison damage like I think it is in the standard D core rules. Instead, you can choose one of the elemental damage types, poison included. You have toughness, so your HP is 1+ higher. Weapon aptitude, you have proficiency in 3 weapons of your choice. So if you're not a martial character, then you have some agency here. If you are a martial character, this is useless. Next we have dark vision out to 60 feet. You have poison resistance, which means you have advantage on saving throws against being poisoned. Steady, you have advantage on saving throws against being prone. You can choose brewer supplies, mason's tool, or smith's tools. You gain proficiency in one of those tools. And whenever you make a history check, whenever you make an ability check related to an item, an object, item, device, building, or material, and you have proficiency bonus in artisan's tools associated with crafting that object, you can give yourself expert. Elves, you're humanoid, your walking speed is 30 feet, you are size medium, you have you get a skill from the wizard can't spell list. You have weapon proficiency in 3 weapons of your choice. You gain you have the perception skill, you have the guarded mind ability, which means you can choose to succeed against being unconscious, stunned, or incapacitated, which I think is still too powerful. You have advantage against being charmed. You have dark vision out to 60 feet, and you can finish a long rest in 4 hours. Elves. Gnomes, you're humanoid. Your size is small. Your walking speed is 30 feet. You have proficiency in an artisan's tool, and you can make it have a magical effect, like prestidigitation, by spending 10 minutes crafting something. You have dark vision out to 60 feet. Fade away lets you hide as a bonus action without having three-quarter cover or being heavily obscured. Magical fortitude means you choose an ability score and you gain advantage in saving throws against spells with that score. It's not as good as the regular gnomes from the core rules. Masterful aptitude. When you choose a tool or a skill you're proficiency in, you have expertise in it. Then nature's voice means you can communicate with small beasts or plants. However, they can just understand the meaning of what you're saying, and they can't speak back to you. And then quick slip lets you hide as a bonus action, which you can already do. Gnomes. Gruggle are the descendants of orcs because orcs don't exist, but they look exactly like orcs. For 40kers, orcs are quirks and orcs are Gruggle. So there's that. You're humanoid, your walking speed is 30 feet, and your size is medium. You have proficiency in a tool of your choice. Battlefield control lets you make an opportunity attack when somebody enters your space, so that's cool. Centered, as a bonus action, you can choose to give yourself advantage on an attack roll or ability check. And you can do this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. You have dark vision out to 60 feet. Impromptu artisan means you can craft something during a short rest, but it has to be less than 10 gold. So it's not really that useful, it's just flavor in my opinion. I mean, unless you're very, very crafty. I don't know when you're going to use this. Maybe make rope. Magical savvy means you gain 1 cantrip of your choice. Powerful build, you count as 1 size larger for the purposes of dragging, lifting, carrying, or grappling. And tireless, I'm tired of tireless, honestly. You can, anything that has to do with exhaustion, you have advantage on, whether that's avoiding the condition or ending it. Halflings, your size is small, you have a 30-foot walking speed, and you're humanoid. Artisan focus, you have proficiency in a tool, specifically brewer's supplies, cooking supplies, or potter's tools, which I don't get the last one. Brave means you have advantage against being frightened. Creature cover, you can hide with only having half cover by just standing behind a creature that's larger than you. Embrace the past, you have proficiency in history. Then lucky, if you roll a 1 on a d20 test, you can re-roll it, but you can only do this proficiency bonus times per day, which the old halfling luck was still better. Helping hand, you can take the help action as a bonus action. Pass through, you can move through the space of a creature larger than you. And then power nap, you gain the benefit. You can regain hit dice on a short rest, and you can remove a level of exhaustion. No, or halflings. I almost said gnomes again. Up next we have human, which you're humanoid. You have a 30-foot walking speed, and your size is medium. I don't know why humans can't be small in this book. Either way, you gain proficiency in a tool of your choice. You have awesome critical, which just lets you add an extra damage dice when you score a critical hit with an unarmed strike or a weapon, but not a spell. Then helping hand, you can take the help action as a bonus action. Instructive orientation, you always know which way is north, and you have advantage on ability checks to avoid being lost and or navigate. First strike, when you make an attack against a creature that hasn't taken a turn yet, you can add 2d6 damage to that, basically like the bugbears. Keen survival, you have proficiency in survival. Skill prowess. Skill prowess means you can add your when you make an ability check with a skill that you're proficient in, you can give yourself expertise. You get this proficiency bonus times per day. In weapon aptitude, you gain proficiency in like 3 weapons of your choice. Laneshi, which sounds very similar to a species from Starfinder, can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. I played one though. Humanoid, you're medium and you have 30-foot walking speed. You're amphibious, which means you can breathe underwater. You have proficiency in animal handling. Awakened mind, which means you can choose to just succeed against being incapacitated, unconscious, or stunned. That overpowered ability again. Dark vision out to 60 feet. Then you also have magical savvy, which you can learn one cantrip from the necromancy spell list, and you choose your ability score for it. Nature's voice, once again, you can speak to plants or beasts. They can't communicate back with you. Psychic spirit means you have resistance to psychic damage. And then swimmer, you have a swim speed equal to your walking speed. Sounds like kind of like you're very Cthulhu species inspired, but you're not an aberration. Ogresh, you're humanoid, your size is medium, and you have a 30-foot walking speed. Careful listener means you can attempt to charm someone after you spent a minute talking to them. Constitution's your ability for this. Commanding insight, you have proficiency in insight. Enemy in motion, you can grant yourself advantage to either the attack roll against the creature or to a saving throw that you have to make. You can do this proficiency bonus times per day. Environmental awareness is like the old rangers. You choose an environment and you have advantage on checks in that, except in this case you have expertise. Focus mind, you have advantage against being charmed. Natural movement, very much like the old ranger. You choose an environment and difficult terrain doesn't slow you down. Persuasive knack, you have proficiency in persuasion. And then powerful build, you count as one size larger for the carrying capacity, lifting, dragging, grappling, etc. Welsh skin, which I covered before in a past video, except they've been updated, and their new update includes helpful hand. You can help as a blah 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 blah. You're humanoid, your size is small, and you have a walking speed of 30 feet. Artificial form, you're construct, but you can be healed with spells. Healed normally during like a short rest. You don't need to eat, sleep, or breathe, but you do need 8 hours of rest still. You have creature cover, so you can hide behind. You can take the hide action despite only being partially covered or giving half cover from creature one size larger than you. Helpful hand means you can take the help action as a bonus action. Intuitive acrobatic, you have proficiency in acrobatics. Magical fortification, you can choose an ability score and give yourself advantage against spells with that save. Magical savant, you always have disguise self prepared. You can cast this once per day, or if you're a spellcaster and have spell slots, you can also cast it with that. Magical savvy means you have minor illusion, cantrip prepared, and then pass through. You can move through a creature who's at least one size larger than you. Basically, you have a good portion of what the gnome has and a good portion of what the halfling has, because you're supposed to be able to disguise yourself as one of those 2 other species. Our final species is the wolven. You're humanoid. You have a 30-foot walking speed and your size is medium or small. You have proficiency in athletics. You have brute speed, which means you can increase your walking speed by 30 feet to the end of your turn and do this proficiency bonus times per day. Climber, you have a climb speed equal to your walking speed. Hunter's instincts, you have a pool of d8s equal to your proficiency bonus, and you can add those to the attack roll or damage. However, you have to decide to add the d8s before you roll you can decide to do this after you roll the d20, but before you know the outcome. So unfortunately, if you already know the creature's AC, adding this to your attack roll isn't going to do anything. But if you add it to your damage roll, just always add it to your damage. Inborn perception, you have proficiency in perception. Natural attack, claws, 1d, your unarmed strikes are 1d6 plus your strength or dex. Nature's voice, you can communicate with beasts or plants, but they can't speak back with you. And pack hunter, you can take a reaction when a creature within 10 feet of you makes an attack roll or saving throw, granting them advantage. And that's the wolven in our final species from the Grimhollow Player's Guide. There's a lot of them. My voice is pretty hoarse now, and let me know which of these species you like the best, and how do you feel about the mix and matching of picking your own traits as opposed to just this is what your species is, this is what you do. Because in my opinion, D&D Beyond's list is already massive, especially if your DM just lets you pick from anything like I do, and having this is just even more complications on top of that. At least that's how I feel about it. Anyway, if you like what I do, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, share all the YouTube stuff. I've been Wes, where's the fun, and bye.